I am Miss Beanblossom, and today we're going to be learning about the culture and arts of Latin America. So the name of this lesson is Fabulosa Fama, meaning fabulous fame. Alright, so here's a video. Do you all know who Sofia Vergara is? Yes. Alright, well she's a big actress. We're going to be learning more about her later on, but here's a fun video of her very strong accent.
I know that I have an accent, but people understand me just fine.
I thought you said hair rings.
I didn't say herrings, I said herrings. Oh, what about Mirabel's daughter's quinceañera?
I honestly didn't get any of that.
I called your secretary and told her to order you a box of baby cheeses. It's like Christian Science reading room. We're going to the dropout.
She means drop off.
How do you say in English?
Helicopter.
You just called it an Obama steak and you use the air bunnies.
But that doesn't make sense.
It's ended. He even boxed with an alligator.
Wrestle.
I know what she thinks. A gold digger. But I'm nice, and I put on the sugar jacket to be the wind in his back, not the spit in his face. I am so confused right now. The last thing Manny needs on his first day of school is you undermelting his confidence. And a gargoyle is a gargoyle.
She means gargoyle.
We can be even like a Steven. You heard how she said that, right? Yes. 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 Oh, that's what I said. It's gorgeous in Spanish. Mejor que su padre. Vámonos para el colegio. ¿Qué hay en esta casa?
What?
What are you talking about? Curse my tongue! Okay, now! You try speaking in another language. Everybody out of my house!
Okay, so that's just a fun video. It made me giggle. So I thought it would be a fun way to kind of talk about what we're going to be talking about, which is Latin American artists and actors and all the different genres of art. But to get started, you have an open-ended question on your Nearpod, and I want you to answer the question, in what areas have you seen Latin American influence in our culture? Make sure you submit those too after you get them. Alright, oh Canada, I'm going to share your answer. Thank you. That's great. Food, music, and language and dance, very true. A lot of music, food, and language, absolutely. Some slang language, music and movies, those are great answers. Alright, so let's get started. So today we're going to be talking about Latin American art and culture. Can you all tell me, does anyone recognize any of these pictures and can tell me what they are? Shakira, and she is, what does she do?
She sings.
Yes, she does. She does lots of things, but yes, she sings. And this is Sofia Vergara. Anything else that you guys recognize? We're going to be learning about all of these, but.
It was like a famous painting.
Yes, Latin America. All right, so today's essential question that we're going to be answering is, can I compare and contrast one of the artists that I've learned about today to an American artist? So as we're learning about these Latin American artists and their influence, what they stood for, what they believed in, I want you to be thinking, okay, who do I know, what artists do I know in America, in our own culture, that I could compare to this? What are the similarities, what are the differences? So we're going to deal with four main categories of art. So painting, drawing, music, literature, and cinema. So let's meet the artists. All right, so our first category is art. So our first artist is Diego Velázquez. Can someone read me the quote underneath his name? Jordan?
I would rather be the first painter of common things than second in higher art.
Yes, absolutely. So Diego Velázquez was born in Seville, Spain. He lived from 1599 to 1660, so a very old Spanish painter that was very influential in the arts. His style was realistic, complex, a strong likeness in appearance to his subject matter. He painted portraits as a member of King Philip IV's court, and he's considered one of the greatest masters of Western art. He influenced artists like Picasso and Salvador Dali, who we're also going to be learning about, and his most famous work is Las Meninas. So now we're going to look at some of his work. So this is Philip IV, who he worked in his court, right? And then this is Coronation of the Virgin, and this is Las Meninas. Does anyone recognize this painting? Yeah, it's very famous in lots of places. All right. Next, Frida Kahlo. Has anyone heard Frida Kahlo? Yes, absolutely. So can someone read me the quote under her name, please? Caleb?
I paint myself so often because I am the subject I know best.
Absolutely. So she was born July 6th, 1907 and died in 1954. She was born in Cayoquin, Mexico. She also passed away there. She was considered a surrealist, but she never felt as though she connected to that. And can anyone tell me what surrealism is? It's kind of mixing reality and kind of animated, kind of what you see, kind of your perspective of the world. So she was simply painting, as she said, an expression of herself. A third of her artwork was actually self-portraits, and you can see how that's relevant considering her quote. She dressed elaborately, known for her unibrow, so there's a fashion twist, different from today. And she was labeled as having alegría, or a lust for life. And these are some of her works. So this is a self-portrait of herself, magnolias, and another kind of self-portrait. What's really interesting, even some of her paintings that aren't self-portraits, she often paints her face in the subject matter that she's painting. Like there's a picture of, or one of her paintings of, it's actually a deer, but then it's her face with the antlers. Very interesting work. All right, so Diego Rivera. Can someone read me his quote, please? Dan?
I dream a lot. I do more painting when I'm not. It's in the subtitle.
Absolutely. So Diego Rivera was actually Frida Kahlo's husband. He was born in December 1886, so significantly older than she was, and died in November of 1947. He was considered a prodigy from a very young age, which you think about rural Mexico, that's very interesting. He was a Mexican muralist. He painted very public murals with extravagant themes, mainly political. He was a social realist who painted contemporary art as a means of social, as a social voice. He was an activist for the Communist Party. And another one of his famous quotes was, "The greatest thing in my life had been my love for Frida." They had a very dramatic, very artistic marriage. So these are some of his, that actually all of these are pictures of a mural that he painted in public places. So Flower Carrier, El Vender de Alcaces, I don't think I said that right, but, and the Dancing Dejante, and this is actually Diego and Frida together. So can someone tell me, when you look at these pieces, kind of what is your thought going through them, or what do you think that he was trying to convey about life in Mexico?
Well, it shows that they're like hardworking, like they do a lot of labor.
Yeah, absolutely, that they're very hardworking. And I think what's interesting is, I think it also shows the oppression of them, because you can kind of see that they're, particularly in the Flower Carrier and El Vender de Alcaces, that they are kind of underneath, they're carrying a heavy burden. All right, and our last Spanish artist is Salvador Dali. Catherine, can you read his quote, please?
Do not fear perfection, for you will never achieve it.
Absolutely. So Salvador Dali, can anyone remember, who did we just learn about who influenced him? Diego Velázquez. So he was born in 1904 and died in 1989. He was born in Spain, and he was a surrealist, and here's a good definition. A 20th century avant-garde movement in art and literature sought to release the creative potential of the unconscious mind, for example, by the irrational juxtaposition of images. So he was most famously known as a painter, but he did lots of different artwork. He was also a sculptor, he did printmaking, fashion, and film, and his work was commonly full of death and decay with heavy symbolism, which you will see in this next slide. So his work, these are three of his works. Does anybody recognize these? Yes, they're very famous. We see them in lots of places, absolutely. So this is Sleep in 1937. His work is Elephants in 1948. And then The Persistence of Memory in 1931. So The Persistence of Memory, these clocks, it was one of his first famous works, and the clocks became symbolic throughout a lot of his other work. All right. Next on. So now we're going to be learning about literature and influential Latin American novelists. So the first one is Juan Rulfo. Could someone... Alex, could you read me the quote under his name?
I'm talking about misery and all of its implications.
Absolutely. So he was born in 1917 and died in 1986. He was a writer, a screenwriter, and photographer. He is most known for his collections of short stories, which we see right here. His work reflected the harsh Mexican life, very dark, moving stories that show some hard realities of the government, very much political pieces. Though he only wrote 2 novels, his work was extremely influential and expository in exposing what life was like, and particularly the corruptness of the Mexican government. Okay, this is one of my favorites, Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Kristen, could you read me that quote?
It is not true that people stop pursuing dreams because they grow old. They grow old because they stop pursuing their dreams.
Yeah. So that's a typo. It should be grow old. But he was born in 1927 and died recently in 2014. He was born in Colombia but died in Mexico. He was a novelist, short story screenwriter, and journalist. He had a strong sense of nationality. He was very proud of where he came from, very proud of Latin American culture. He worked for Fidel Castro as a news writer. He wrote 100 Years of Solitude, which actually won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1982. He is considered the most famous Latin American novelist. His work has millions of copies in all different languages, very powerful. All right, and lastly, Isabella Allende. I can promise you that women working together, linked, informed, and educated can bring peace and prosperity to this forsaken planet. So as you can tell, she is a very vocal feminist, particularly in Latin American cultures where women do not have as many rights as men do. She was born on August 2nd, 1942. She's still living. She was born in Lima, Peru, but grew up in Chile and Argentina, and now she's actually in America. Her style of literature was magic realism, which is a literary or artistic genre in which realistic narrative and naturalistic technique are combined with surreal elements of dream or fantasy. So that would be like fairies, goblins, that sort of thing. She is a very strong feminist, and her first novel was House of Spirits and was based off a letter to her grandfather, who was also very active in politics. All right, so music. This one's fun. You're going to recognize a lot of these people. Probably not this one at first. Okay, so this is Vincent Fernandez, which we're going to watch that video in just a second. But he was born on February 7th in 1940 in Guadalajara, Mexico. He produced more than 50 records in 50 years. He is known for his traditional Spanish dress. As you can see in this picture, his nickname is El Rey de la Música Ranchera, or the Legend. He has also starred in over 30 movies. He's considered to be the Frank Sinatra of ranchera music. He's the supreme singer and the man who does things his way. The Houston Chronicle wrote this about him. He is extremely influential in other Latin American musicians' lives. A lot of them strive to be as influential as he has been. So, who's this? Pitbull. Did you all know that Pitbull was Cuban? Because he is. So his quote, with all the negativity going on in the world right now, people need an escape. When you give them a hit record or a great record, it allows them to escape for at least 3 to 4 minutes. They're not thinking bills or economy or immigration or war when you create that kind of ambiance. So, surprising little quote there from Pitbull, considering he kind of portrays a little bit of a crass image at times. But he was born in 1981 to 2 Cuban expatriates. Does anybody know what an expatriate is? So it is someone who has left their country to live in another country. So he grew up in Miami, Florida. He's won 2 Grammys, one for Best Urban Fusion and one for Latin Rock. And his songs have been top Billboard songs many times. So, and this is Shakira. Of course, we recognize her. Her full name is Shakira Isabel Mubarak Rapol. Her quote is, "I know what it's like to feel the fear and the need of affirmation and appreciation. To build confidence in yourself is the toughest thing." So she was born in 1977 in Colombia. She's a singer, songwriter, dancer. She has also won 2 Grammy Awards and 7 Latin American Music Awards. Her father is Arabic, which is really interesting, and then her mother is Colombian. Her music blends her Latin, Arabic, and culture with rock. Some of her famous songs, which I'm sure you all have heard, are Hips Don't Lie and Whenever, Whenever. They're on the radio quite often. All right, so this is Vincent Fernandez, and he is the traditional... We're just going to watch a few seconds of this. So very traditional Mexican music, very all about his culture, his people, the language. Very proud of that. As you can tell, he dresses in that traditional garb, lives that lifestyle. Alright, so you all can go back and watch more of him later, but we're going to keep going. Alright, so Latin America and cinema. So, Antonio Banderas, his quote is, "It was an honor and privilege to arrive in this country 16 years ago with almost no money in my pocket. A lot has happened since then." He was born in Spain, so he is Spanish. Before he became an actor, he was a Spanish soccer player. His famous works include Zorro, Spy Kids, and what I learned is he's actually Puss in Boots from Shrek. I know. So, here are some of his movies. I know. Sofia Vergara, of course, we just learned about her. She was born in Colombia. She started her career working in Latin America television for Univision. She's known for her powerful social media influence, Modern Family, Happy Feet 2, and Meet the Browns. And Hot Pursuit, which if you haven't seen that, it's a fantastic movie. Alright, and William Levy. In Cuba, you get a quarter of a chicken per month. They give you 1 bread per day, so it makes your life really tough. He was born in 1980. He grew up extremely poor, started as a telenovela star, and considered the Latino Brad Pitt. He was also on the 14th season of Dancing with the Stars. Now, can someone tell me what telenovela is? It's Spanish soap opera. So yeah, so this is some of his work. He's dancing in a new movie in one of his original things. Alright, so let's do this together. Oop, and I don't know why this is down there. But on your screen, if you can make sure that you are filling this out together as we go through this. So, that was very small too. Okay, so William Levy is known as the Latino. Anyone? Brad Pitt, very good. Okay, so this should be Vincent. I don't know why this little guy is a straggler, but Vincent Fernandez is known as El Rey de la Música Ranchera. And Isabel Allende was born in Peru, but grew up in Chile. So that's kind of a recap of some of those artists for you. So we just learned about all these Latin American artists and their influence. What did we see that they all have in common? Or something that you notice particularly about them? Yeah.
The Latin American influence determined what they did.
Yes, absolutely. That's a great answer. So we see that all of these stars, though many, if not all, very internationally famous, allowed for their culture to shine through proudly. Think of Sofia Vergara again, like how proud she is of her accent, proud to be of where she comes from. Their culture, in fact, influenced the type of work that they did and who they are in the eyes of their fans. And it's part of the thing that makes them so endearing. So again, going back to today's essential question, can I compare and contrast one of the artists that I learned about today to an American artist? Alright, so you have an open response on your Nearpod. If you can just write, 3 to 4 sentences. And yeah, maybe think of an American singer that you know and compare it to Shakira or Pitbull. Think about an artist that you know, compare it to Frida Kahlo or Diego Rivera. Just kind of compare, try to stay within the same genre of people. Try to do that pretty quickly and submit those so we can wrap up. For the sake of time, oh, look at that. All of these great answers. Alright, so I'm going to share Francisco. I'm going to guess that's Stan. So, Fernandez versus Justin Bieber is very proud of his cultural influence, whereas Bieber has become more focused on U.S. and it's very good. All right, very true. Okay, so let's think critically for a second. Just want to ask this question. Why is it important as believers to learn about other cultures? And can we learn more about the Lord as we look at other cultures? Yeah.
Other cultures can have different social cues and different ways they go about it, so we kind of need to know how they live so that we can implement the gospel in a way that
Absolutely.
won't offend them.
Absolutely, that's wonderful. And I think too, I just think it's very cool when we look at other cultures and we learn more about them. I think we do learn more about the Lord. I think we learn about His creativity and His sovereignty in that as well. All right, so this is a quick, funny video. Unfortunately, we don't have time for it, but thanks. I hope you guys learned a lot. We are going to be doing a project tomorrow where you will write 8 to 10 sentences comparing an American artist to a Latino artist that we learned about today. So, yeah.